Yo, it's Mac from the Everyday Nobody's podcast. I know you see the title, so let's get straight to it. Memphis Bleek was on Club Shay Shay this week, acting like Jay-Z's favorite side chick. I didn't know if I was looking at Memphis Bleek or Young Miami. What I do know is that makes my skin crawl watching grown men get on camera and act so sensitive for no reason. But how do we get here? Memphis Bleek, he had some words for Van Lathan because he didn't like the way Van Lathan was covering the Jay-Z versus Tony Busby case.
Van Lathan, you had a back and forth with.
Oh, a quick one, because he took a shot at the big homie, and it's like, they showed you love, bro. I seen you at the brunch, seen you at Mad Rock Nation events, and you see Jay with a little hiccup, somebody falsely accusing him, and you want to take a shot like he's on that side, like he's that type of guy. I didn't like that.
Come on, bro.
I didn't like that. He lucky it was on Instagram, because I'd have seen him. He'd have met the real me. He wouldn't have met Memphis Bleek. He'd have met Malik.
No. You got to be Bleek.
Like,
you got to be above. You got to be above that.
But
now.
when it comes to that,
yeah,
that's personal,
yes.
bro. And that there's no joking with that.
Right.
It's no play with that, bro. Like, and that's how I felt in that situation.
Now, unless I missed something, which I'm pretty sure I didn't, because I watch every time they drop. Van didn't say anything flagrant about Jay-Z, nor did he make any jokes, so I don't know where Memphis Bleek was coming from with all this aggression. Van Lathan is from the Higher Learning podcast, and he's a journalist. So, of course, if a story with P. Diddy and Jay-Z possibly assaulting a woman when she was a minor, if that pops up, Van has to talk about it. And he talked about it quite gracefully. If you don't remember what happened, let's go back. When Diddy was first going to trial, there was a woman who was claiming that he and Jay-Z both did some things to her years ago. Of course, she was lying, and the stories made absolutely no sense. And Jay-Z defended himself. When it came to Van Lathan and Rachel Lindsay covering this on Higher Learning, basically, Van was neutral. I was pissed when I watched it, but I wasn't mad at Van. I was mad at Rachel.
Right? Like, you could say the same thing about Gloria. I think we have learned when accusations like this or period are made and we don't have the full knowledge or the extent of the evidence that's out there or the details, to not pick a side and jump. I mean, I've said on this podcast before, I'm always pro-victim. I believe the victim before anything else. We don't know what's true or what's not. And it's a civil case. So the standard that they're going to have to prove is more likely than not that this happened. That's the standard. But I will talk about what is directly in front of us. I'm going to talk about this Roc Nation statement. The statement came out from Jay-Z and Roc Nation very quickly. Why? Because they knew that this was coming. So I saw a lot of chatter on social media, this came out pretty quickly. Well, of course it did. He had already filed an extortion suit. They were trying to negotiate prior to naming him and trying to settle this outside of it. They didn't. So he knew this was coming. They probably had a statement prepared. What I don't like in this statement, and it's something that you mentioned when we were talking to Megan, the biggest thing for Jay-Z is the public perception. How will the public see him after these type of allegations are linked with his name? We've never seen anything like this before. The statement that he makes plays into what you said about public perception. And I think that's some of the things. The shifting it to don't focus on me, focus on Tony Busby. I don't like that. I don't like I would have rather not seen a statement and him have his lawyers work this out. Maybe there is blackmail. Maybe there is.
To Rachel, she always believes victims first and women first because they usually don't have the voice to speak up or they don't have the funds to actually beat somebody like this in court. I don't look at life like that. I look at it like this. Let's wait for the information to come out and then we can judge. You can still cover it, but cover it neutral because we don't have any information. She's making it seem like women lying on rich people for a payday is not a thing. And that's the part that bothered me. Then she pulled up some completely non-related lyrics to try to paint the picture that Jay-Z could be a rapist. The stuff had nothing to do with that, but that's how she presented it. And then she hid behind the veil that, well, this is what the lawyers are going to do in court anyways. So it's not a problem that I did it. I felt like that was foul.
Help hurt this case, provide more insight. One of the things they will do are go through Jay-Z songs. I think. Why would you not? Why would you not go through lyrics? I kill a block. I murder the avenues. I rape and pillage your village, women and children.
Rachel.
It's Jay-Z lyrics.
Rachel, come on, man.
No. Don't come on me. I am saying, would they not, if I was an attorney, I would look for anything if there's not a lot out there, right? Because I agree with what Megan said. They put pictures of the things in the civil suit, and it's like, what is this? But if I'm an attorney, I'm looking for everything. It is not, we saw it with Atlanta, with the RICO case.
Do you think
how do you not look at, like, I get what you're saying, oh, come on, Rachel, but it's not crazy for people to look up lyrics to songs and say, why did you say this? What does it mean?
So this is my only thing about that, and I get it.
Get mad at me if you want,
I'm not getting mad at you.
But I'm just saying, it is a Jay-Z lyric.
This is my only thing.
Monster. I'm trying to make is, when I read a lyric like that and you say, come on, man, like, you can't take that seriously. I'm not saying I can or I can't. What's a fact is it was said. And what's a fact is you wrote it or you didn't, you said it. And now that kind of stuff comes back in an instance like this because it speaks to, okay, you didn't do it, you just said it. So what does that say about your character that you would say something like that? Maybe it is a rap culture thing where people just say things that aren't true and they don't mean it. But it's something that maybe now, in light of the accusations, you're going to have to answer to. That's all I'm saying.
I felt like that was completely foul. Then she went even further saying, I think it's messed up that Jay-Z is using his cultural leverage to sway the consensus when all Jay-Z said was, I didn't do this. Nobody will ever believe this. And I'm not giving Tony Busby one red cent. Because if you remember, Tony Busby, he is a known ambulance chasing lawyer. What happened? He hit it big because he's the one who, got all those women paid from that Deshaun Watson case. Okay. Once he got those women paid, now he's in the limelight because I think he's like an injury lawyer. He's not even a criminal defense lawyer, but he got that big payday. Deshaun Watson, his career is pretty much ruined. Then he moved over to the Diddy case. Now, remember what he was doing in the Diddy case. He was like, hey, I'm creating a hotline for people to call in. If you ever sniffed a Diddy fart and you want to try to sue, call me now. And we just going to make it happen. And guess how many people actually showed up in that case? 0. He had 120 people allegedly that were willing to testify on Diddy. None of them showed up in that case. So he goes up against Jay-Z. Jay-Z spanks him in court. And he proved that, hey, this guy's a legal extortionist. He actually called me and said, I need to come in and take this meeting or he's going to put out information that I did this. Jay-Z said, I'm not paying you nothing. Tony Busby puts it out to the world thinking it's going to embarrass Jay-Z. Jay-Z said, let the games begin. He spanks him in court and then he spanked him with impunity, which means you can never bring this case back up, period. And he also got Tony Busby reprimanded because Tony Busby is a Texas lawyer. Now, you can be counsel on certain cases, but there's a lot of paperwork you have to fill out to be a lawyer in another state. Tony Busby was found to not have filled that out. So he got reprimanded behind that whole case because Jay-Z was not playing. I will not negotiate with terrorists. And that's who Tony Busby is. So when Jay says nobody will believe this, it's because nobody should believe Tony Busby. He's an ambulance chaser. Now, back to Van Lathan. One thing Van Lathan did say that Rachel did agree with. He said, look, I know we love Hov, but we should not blindly follow anybody just because we love the music they make or we love the way that they create art because we've all been disappointed.
Once again,
will come out.
No reason to do any work for anybody. In this particular situation,
I'm only going to talk about what's right in front of me.
We don't know these people.
The suit.
If you ain't never been around these people, you don't know what no one is capable of. You don't know what no one ain't capable of.
Right.
Right. Right now, this is a civil case. This is an accusation. It is just that. Like jumping in front of it in the defense, jumping in front of it in the accusation. We've learned now that that the best thing to do is to take the information
as it comes out. But if you think that we here are going to put anything past anyone, it's just impossible to do at this point. You just can't do it. All right.
Just think about an artist that you love. Not saying that they're all guilty, but a lot of these artists have some crazy allegations, whether it's R. Kelly, Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, Tory Lanez, whoever you want to add to the mix. Like that happens. So all Van was saying is like, look, Jay-Z may be the only person who's too big to fail, but don't be so attached to these people that you think that they can't do something harmful because they're human too. I agree with that, but never once did Van say, yeah, Jay-Z did this. Rachel was the only one violating, and she never apologized. She saw nothing wrong with what she did. So for Memphis Bleek to jump out the window on Club Shay Shay, a huge platform, and say, yo, if I would have ran in the van, I would have did this, this, and this, that made no sense. It's bad enough that 70% of that interview was about Jay-Z because, no offense, but a lot of people, they only know Memphis Bleek for being Jay-Z's friends. It wasn't because of rap. So, when you are that loud and you wrong and you making threats talking about what you're going to do to somebody, you look like a clown. Now, clearly, Van Lathan, he doesn't seem to be bothered because he told Memphis Bleek to clean Jay-Z's nut out his ears because he didn't say nothing wrong to him. Because there was a time when they was having a Twitter exchange. They was going back and forth. So Van wasn't worried. And then when Van saw the Club Shay Shay interview, he came with his own little video.
What's going on over here?
What's up?
What are you doing?
I'm getting ready, man. I'm getting ready. I've been called out. My hand's been called. I was almost too terrified to make this video, but I have to let everyone know that Malik, aka Memphis Bleek, has said he almost was going to hurt me when he saw me. I had to get back in the gym, get my hands right. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna address this on Higher Learning on Friday, if I'm still around. If Malik hasn't gotten to me by that point, I'm still gonna talk to you guys, okay? He might have got me already by then. It's the boogeyman of hip hop, everybody knows it.
So I don't think Van is worried about it one way or another. And I don't want it to seem like, I got a problem with Bleek defending Jay-Z. But to me, if you're going to defend somebody, you better know what you're talking about. And what I saw was a person jumping out the window and he didn't even watch the full episodes. Because once again, Van did not disrespect Jay-Z. Don't just be walking around loud and wrong. And if Jay-Z already spoke in court and he won, what does he need you to speak for? You 50 talking about you about to run down on somebody. What do we need you for? But what do I know? I'm just an everyday nobody. Tell me what you think in the comments. Was Bleek wrong? Was Van Lathan violating? Let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Help me get to that 1,000 subs. I'm out. Peace.